in this video, we are going to be reviewing Cheap Lazy Vegan. Sort of an interesting name, sort of funny. Obviously, you already know how I see some of this, but there are common arguments against veganism, and apparently she's going to give them, so I'm sort of curious. So let's see what she has to say.
This other way of living that the mainstream society doesn't really talk about. Vegans are people that have done their homework for the most part. They've done the homework, they've done the research.
Okay, wow. I can already say that this is not true. This is definitely not true. Vegans have not done their homework. If they've done their homework, which actually I sort of was one of them for that matter. I was pretty close to it. I was pescatarian, and I thought that eating plants was always super healthy, and I turned out not too good. Honestly, in my opinion, I could have turned out much better. So no, this isn't true, first off. Second off, let's read his little claim. I am not biased because I am vegan. I am vegan because after extensive research, I have learned that besides being the most ethical decision, no, not true. Actually, that one's definitely not true. You can see my Nature Has No Morals video if you're really interested in that. A plant-based diet is best for my health. That's definitely not true. Oh, Garth Davis? Oh, come on. This guy? Really? Okay. First off, no, it's definitely not best for your health. And I can just explain this through glucose oxidation alone. I wouldn't need anything else. Literally. Just understand glucose oxidation. Literally, yeah. Here, you did your research? Go ahead. Go ahead. Make sure you explain glucose oxidation to me. Explain it in really fine detail so we see exactly what happens. Because I'm pretty sure you didn't do your research. If you did, you would know. It's not the best diet. It definitely is not the best diet.
Thing to do, that's when, you kind of try to fight that urge to just go with the status quo, and you start to do things based on your morals and your ethics and based on the greater good of the world.
Okay. Oh man, this is a philosophy thing, huh? This isn't even about science, maybe. All right, so first off, I'm going to have to say, in terms of morals and ethics, you have to understand why morals and ethics exist. I guess this might be a little bit of a philosophy argument. Morals and ethics don't exist for animals. There's a reason they don't exist among animals. Because animals don't have the responsibility and they don't have the ability to take accountability for their actions. If they did, they would have the same rights in humans, but they don't. They can't take accountability for their actions. Not only that, they can't even discern what is and is not moral. If you tell a cat, hey, stop being immoral and playing with your food by ripping and tearing that mouse to shreds and then slowly letting it go so it can escape and then you can just catch it again and repeat that process 50 or 100 times. The cat has no understanding of what morals is. It doesn't occur in the cat's brain because it doesn't exist. Morals exist among humans and only among humans because of social cohesion. That's the only reason. That's it. Without ethics and morals, there would be no social cohesion among humans. And we wouldn't have the amazing society that we have today and civilization. That's because we were able to work together. The whole point of morals is literally just social cohesion. And when you understand that, that's very good to know, because you realize that you don't want to go back to nature, because nature has no form of this whatsoever. It is literally dog eat dog. It's not even dog eat dog. It's everything eat everything. Just nonstop eating each other. So yeah, once again, no, this isn't true.
The common arguments against veganism. What about protein? Where do you get your protein?
That's a very good question. Where do you get your protein? If you know how protein works, you would know very quickly that you're not getting enough of it. Pretty good chance. I mean, actually, she showed it at the very start of the video. No, you're definitely not getting enough of it. Clearly, you're not. Why is that? Because we already know how plant protein works. We know that plant protein is way, way less balanced in terms of amino acid content. We know that it is insanely less balanced. Like, it is completely skewed. I'm not going to maybe if she harps on it enough, I'll explain amino acids and how they work. But there's a reason why vegans are all, for the most part, almost all look emaciated, and it's because they literally aren't getting enough of the essential amino acids. Because if you know how amino acids work, it's always based on the weakest link. So And plants always have very low bioavailable and very imbalanced amino acid profiles. So yeah, and meat has much more balanced amino acid profiles and more bioavailable, and eggs triumph overall. Eggs have the highest by far.
Protein, though, I was really actually quite surprised at how many times I got this response, because I thought we were past that. Come on, society. Come on. I don't even know what to say about this topic other than plants have protein. Seriously, plants have protein. Plants have protein. Plants have protein. I have been meat-free for 7 years, almost, I think. And I've been vegan for 4 years. And I've never had an issue with lack of protein. Do I look? Okay, well, let's not do that. I've never had an issue with lack of protein, ever. And there's so many vegan bodybuilders out there and fitness people that look amazing. And they feel amazing and they have amazing results. They're not protein deficient, so...
Yep. Because they have to actually count for the essential amino acids. They have to actually realize which plant has which essential amino acid, and it gets really tedious. You can do that, or you can just eat eggs. That's it. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. What was he eating? Supposed best bodybuilder ever. Yeah, that's right. He was eating eggs and meat. He was pretty much carnivore. Like all of these bodybuilders back in the day of their prime, they were carnivores pretty much. They ate primarily meat. They ate meat over and over and over and over and over again. A lot more eggs, actually. Eggs and then meat. Yeah, see, so first off, that's already, she doesn't really know the argument behind that. Just fine. No biochemistry. I'm not really expecting anything. Cheap, lazy vegan. The lazy does. I would say the lazy is accurate.
Natural to eat meat. This one is, oh God, I can't even. First of all, even if we could make the argument that it is natural for humans to eat meat, just because something is natural does not necessarily mean it's a good thing or that we need to continue doing it. In what?
I would agree with that. And then we will just apply that exact same argument to plants and say, is that natural? I'll tell you right now, eating plants, that's not natural either, actually. It's very unnatural. Very, very unnatural. Because none of these plants look like what they used to. None of them at all. You can look at avocados. I don't care what you look at. Doesn't really matter. Corn, back in the day, not even close to what it looks like today. It's inedible, so...
What way is anything that we're doing right now natural? Look at what we're doing. Look at how we live. This camera is not natural. This fake lighting is not natural. We work in concrete buildings, work in a laptop, work in computers. We phone people. We fly across the world. None of this is natural. The way we eat is not natural. Don't pretend that artificially inseminating animals to artificially breed them to this extent so that the human population can consume animal products to the extent that we do is natural. It is not natural what we're doing right now. Even if it was natural to eat meat, which I don't believe it is, and I don't believe that there's any...
It's not natural to eat plants either, because we're doing the exact same to plants. We're artificially inseminating these plants. We're doing literally the exact same thing. How do you think we have these plants that we have today? None of them are natural. Ever since the agricultural revolution, none of them are natural. So once again, the argument's a little poor on this one again.
Scientific data to prove that to be true. Even if it was natural for us to eat meat, it is not natural for us to eat...
Did she just say what I think she said?
Even if it was natural to eat meat, which I don't believe it is, and I don't believe that there's any scientific data to prove that to be true.
Okay, no, there is actually. All right, well, I guess we'll do a little bit of anthropology. So first off, what did early Homo sapiens eat? That's right, they ate meat. We already know this based on stable nitrogen isotope studies as well as them crafting tools. What about Middle Pleistocene Homo sapiens? Meat. Also, early Homo sapiens were Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Homo rudolphinus. Middle Pleistocene Homo sapiens were things like Neanderthals. Once again, both of them highly carnivorous, eating meat minimum 80% of the time. They were meat eaters and meat eaters only. Stable nitrogen isotope studies show this. What about Homo sapiens? Once again, early Homo sapiens, exactly the same thing. And then suddenly, around before, around 10,000 years before, 10,000 years ago, we suddenly have tons of problems happening, and people suddenly start having malocclusion and all these other problems happening with their body that never used to happen. That was the exact same time the agricultural revolution started. Interesting. So yeah, once again, this is not true.
Even if it was natural for us to eat meat, it is not natural for us to eat meat to that extent, because there is no way that our planet can naturally produce that much meat for this many people. It is.
I don't know if that's true. That actually might be true. That might be true. That definitely might be true. I'm not too sure about that. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think a lot of humanity is going to survive in the future anyways, because it looks like there's a lot of bad things coming up. Like a lot of bad things coming up. I mean, there's so many bad things that can happen right now. I don't want a World War III. That's number one. Number two, I do not want either of the candidates to be killed, because that would be very bad in the United States. That would be very bad. That would cause a huge disruption. Like, there will be a giant outbreak of people being very, very upset. So yeah, this is there's a lot of not good things happening right now. So I mean, yeah, there's, like I said, there's just, it does not look good. The future does not look super good from my personal opinion for most of humanity. I definitely don't think so. So yeah, she might be right on this one, because there really might not be enough meat to sustain everybody on the planet. I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't done the numbers behind that.
Is not natural. These are factory farmed animals that have been artificially bred and artificially inseminated, basically artificially made so that we could think that this stuff is a natural part of our diet, which it is not. If it was natural, then we would not have to do this. We would not have to put these animals in tiny cages to the point where they cannot move so that the population can eat meat. How is that natural?
Well, we already do this in Africa. I mean, we already know Africans do this when they're herding their sheep and stuff. Like, they've done this for a while. So this isn't just today. Like, they did this a while ago. They domesticated these animals. Animals became domesticated because of that. For this very reason, to help us, pretty much.
Plants feel pain. Plants have feelings too. This one always surprises me every time I hear this, because it's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life, but it actually is one of the most common arguments I hear against veganism. In fact, I've actually done an entire video on this topic. I will link that video down below because I think it's still relevant. Obviously, I filmed it a while ago, but I think it's still relevant. To summarize though, I will give you a little bit of summary of what I talk about in the video. Number one, plants do not feel pain. End of discussion.
Yes, they do. We already know this, because when they experience mechanical stress, they will literally communicate to each other. And they will tell the other plant, I am experiencing mechanical stress. And therefore, because they experience that mechanical stress, suddenly the other plants all start ramping up phytotoxin loads. Which is why elephants, specifically elephants who eat mopane trees in Africa, will graze on the mopane trees. And then afterwards, they will migrate. Why do they do that? Because they know that the plants are communicating to each other, and they know that the phytotoxin load in those mopane trees are going through the roof. So yeah, once again, this is wild. Not true on that one, but go ahead.
They do not feel pain. They do not have a central nervous system. They do not have feelings. They are not sentient beings, okay? Just because something is alive does not mean it has feelings or that it can feel pain, okay? Just because something is...
They can experience mechanical stress, which is otherwise known as chewing and eating. In fact, you can even, whenever, for instance, if you can literally hear their screams, quite literally, you can hear the screams of plants. If you get a certain microphone, I can't remember, there's a really good, interesting experiment though. A certain microphone, and you pretty much put it next to tobacco plants, and you cut it at a certain frequency, you can literally hear them screaming. So it's like, once again, not true. It's a different kind of screaming. It's not a screaming that we can hear, but it is screaming nonetheless.
A living thing does not mean that it is a sentient being. That is the big difference between animals and non-animals. Even if it were true that plants feel pain too, how does that justify killing animals? By that logic,
it doesn't. This once again, this has to. Morality only exists for humans. Morality does not exist between animals. Between other animals, morality does not exist because they eat each other all the time. Even a deer, for Christ, jeez, like a deer will literally eat a bird if it has the opportunity to. That deer has no. It's not like the deer has a moral compass. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't be eating this bird. No, everything in nature is opportunistic. If it has the opportunity to do so, it will. Like, you have to understand how nature works. And then you look at what the purposes of morals are in the first place. Why do morals exist? For social cohesion.
at the top of the food chain. Oh God. Honestly, really? Really? Are we just living in Lion King at this point? Oh my God. First of all, we're not. Like, we're not at the top of the food chain. If we were actually out in the wild, are we really at the top of the food chain?
Yeah, we literally made nature our big. Like, I'm not going to swear because it's going to get me demonetized. But yeah, nature works for us. We don't work for nature anymore. It's the other way around. It did a complete 180 because we colonized. We like literally just look outside. There is no nature. We make nature outside, all these trees and stuff, for our visual liking. We don't do this because it's good. Well, there could be that reason, but the real reason is just because we like to see it there. Like, once again, this is yes, we are on the top of the food chain because we're literally making every single other species go extinct. We get to choose. We literally just dictate whether or not a species will or will not survive in nature. There is none, not a single species in the history of the planet Earth that had that ability. None of them. None of them just could say with the snap of their fingers and go, you are no longer existing, species A. And then suddenly, poof, they exist. We're like Thanos. Literally, this is a Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet on. We just snap him out of existence. That's how strong and ridiculously overpowered humans are. Because we work together and we can make literally anything accomplish anything. I mean, there's 8 billion people on this planet. Nations are composed of 300 million people sometimes. So, like, how on earth is the lion or a pride of lions going to compete with 300 million humans? They're never going to compete with that, ever. You can't beat humans because humans cooperate on such a high level. It's completely unlike anything in the animal kingdom that has ever existed. There's only one thing that exists like that, that's similar to that, and that's ants. And ants are smaller. If ants were bigger, who knows what the world would be like. But honestly, literally, it's all based on understanding that humans were able to work together, and that's the reason Homo sapiens are where we are today. Neanderthals weren't able to work at that massive of a scale. That's probably the reason why they went extinct. Because they couldn't work at the same level and at the same scale than we could.
You really think that we're at the top of the food chain? What about lions? What about tigers? These predators are probably at the top of the food chain, at least somewhat close to the top of the food chain. We are not even close to that, okay?
Are you kidding me? This is what I mean. You have no idea how this works. We're literally making lions and tigers go extinct. How on earth are we not at the top of the food chain? We even make pets we make lions and tigers our servants. They're our pets. We keep them in captivity for our pleasure. Of course we're at the top of the food chain. You must be, oh geez, that is next level delusion right there. If you're keeping something for your own pleasure, if you're keeping a pet for your own pleasure in your house, you have to realize just how strong you are. Just how much power that species has. That's insane. That's genuinely, this is insane to me. Of course you have the upper hand. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in captivity and under your control the entire time. Once again, it's like, realize, at least acknowledge how much power humans have. But no, clearly not. Still, it's like lions and tigers. It's like you have to realize nature isn't just composed of, oh, one lion versus one human. Who's going to win? No, that's not how nature works. Same thing with ants. One ant versus a fly. Who's going to win? One ant versus, I don't know, some other thing. Who's going to win? One ant versus a lizard. Who's going to win? Obviously, it's going to be the lizard. But ants don't work one by one. That's not their specialty. They work in millions. So, like, of course it's going to end up beating the lizard. Once again, it's obvious.
If we were against the lion, we would be killed and eaten. So doesn't that show already that we're not actually at the top of the food chain? Maybe. Humans have this obsession with ourselves, which
This is what I mean. It's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of being able to actually see the world as it is. You can't really acknowledge just how strong humans are, can you? Once again, humans do not work like a pride of lions with only 5 or 8 or God knows how many of them. That's not the specialty of humans. It's the fact that we work in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions or billions of people. I mean, it's insane. How on earth are you supposed to beat 1 billion humans? How on earth are you supposed to beat 300,000? How on earth are you supposed to even beat 100,000? That's not even comprehensible to anybody's mind because it's so big. It's so massive. Even a medieval army of 10,000 people, how are you supposed to beat that? A pride of lions is going to do nothing to that pack of 10,000 humans. I mean, it's like, oh, geez, once again. So it's a complete lack of understanding.
I guess it's normal, it's natural, whatever. Oh, it's natural. We have been told from the minute we were born that we are above everything else, that we are just some super species and we deserve so much more than any other species. And that is the root of the problem, I believe. I believe that.
That's true. We are the super species. Does it mean we deserve it? Deserving, it depends what you define as deserving. But usually power defines whether or not you deserve or don't deserve something. In fact, it doesn't even determine whether or not you deserve it. You just get it whether or not you quote unquote deserve it or not. That's what power is. Even these structures exist among humans, for that matter. Even other humans make other humans work for them. It's like you have to realize how this works. It's all about power. It's literally all about power. Do you have the power to do it? If you have the power, deserving means nothing. Deserving is pointless, and it's really cruel to say it, and it's I don't like necessarily saying it all the time, but it's true. That's how politics works. That's how any business what business at all works whatsoever. It's all about power. So yeah, pretty much.
That is delusion that we are somehow superior to every other living species. I would like to believe that.
Yeah, we are, actually. Because we make them go extinct. Like, what else do you need to know? You have to realize, you don't even realize the situation that you're in. Once again, yeah, this is what happens this is what happens. Living in delusion.
That we are all living on this earth and we are all part of this ecosystem and this planet Earth, and we all need to live here. And it doesn't mean just because certain animals are stronger than other animals, it doesn't mean that those animals should rule above all. We all share this space, okay?
No, it sort of does. Because a population of foxes, for instance, will overeat rabbits and then suddenly make themselves starve. Same thing with lions. If they have the opportunity to, they will. They'll just overeat that entire population. And then suddenly the lion population will collapse because it has nothing left to eat. Because it's eaten everything. So it's like, you have to understand, just understand some basic things. Whatever. All right, so I hope you learned something. Clearly, her philosophy or her understanding of philosophy doesn't really seem to exist because she doesn't know why animals don't have the same rights in humans. They're completely different things because they can't actually comprehend morality, number one, and number two, they can't take accountability for their actions. The whole reason why morality exists in the first place is for social cohesion and for humans to quite literally work together. That's the whole point of morality. So once again, yeah, this is sort of a BS. It's just BS. As I can't really, I don't know what else to say. There wasn't really one good argument there. None. So I hope you learned something. If you learned something and you want to see more videos like this, or you have one person you want me to review in particular, please let me know in the comments below. If you found the video interesting, then please like, share, and subscribe to the video because it really does help the channel grow. And if you want to see all of my videos ahead of time, please click the join button down below where you can support me personally as well as see all of my videos ahead of time. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.